6 months since I got my breast implants removed, and I wanted to talk about my biggest regret through the entire process of all of this. So, a lot of you guys know that I have been down a healing, spiritual health journey for the past, I guess you would say, year and a half. I decided to get my implants removed because as I dove deeper down a healing journey for my body physically to heal a lot of symptoms that I had been having and also heal myself emotionally and spiritually, I just decided that it was time to get my implants out. So it was a long journey to get to that process. I made the decision a year ago to get my implants out. It took me about, I guess, from November to April to get my implants actually out. And it was just a really long, emotional, crazy journey. And now that I'm here and it's been 6 months, I just kind of wanted to do a recap about the whole experience and also just the biggest thing that I regretted through all of it. So, finding a doctor was like an emotionally draining thing. It seemed as if I had to go through so many different doctors. I think I interviewed probably 6 to 7 different doctors, and each one I had to tell them my story. I had to tell them my reasoning about how I had this rare eye disease that was making me lose my vision, and I wanted to get my implants out because I just wanted my body in its pure natural state. And then I had to have the doctors tell me how it wasn't gonna save my vision and that it probably wasn't gonna do anything. It was just a very emotional journey to have to like interview doctors. So that was like the first piece of it. Then once I finally had the appointment scheduled, then it was like leading up to it, and I was so excited. I couldn't wait, but I also was really nervous. And then like the week before I actually had the surgery, I was scared, like so scared. And I hadn't been scared the whole time. I was like always excited. So then leading up to the surgery, I was super scared. I got my implants taken out in Mexico, which was even crazier, without any family with me. And then after I got the implants out, it was another whirlwind of emotions, but emotions that I just wasn't really expecting would happen, because although some women are really worried about their appearance whenever they get their implants out, like that's something they go into the surgery with, that heaviness on them, is like worried about that aspect of it. I actually was not worried about the way I was going to look at all, because I had a disease that was going to, I had a disease and it was going to affect me being able to see or not for the rest of my life. So I really was very much out of the headspace of caring about what my body was going to look like after surgery. I just wanted the implants gone because I wanted to see if they helped with my vision. So I had no thoughts about that at all before I got the surgery. I wasn't worried about my looks at all. And I know that's something a lot of people struggle with, which I understand. So after I got the surgery, I was just so overjoyed. I was so happy. It was like this huge weight was lifted off my chest, literally and what's the word? I don't know. Literally and figuratively. So I was just it was just amazing. And then as a couple days went on, I started to freak out because I like started to really set in what I was looking at in the mirror. I had huge scars across my entire chest, and I only got my implants out. I didn't even get the lift because I didn't want to have extra scars. I also want to eventually breastfeed if I do become a mother, and I've been told by doctors that you can't breastfeed if you have a breast lift. So I took a really big risk and chose just to get the implants out, not to get a lift. And even though I had like minimal scars compared to a lot of people, it freaked me out. I had huge, like 12 inches probably worth of scars across my chest. And also my implants were over my muscle. So basically where the implants came out, it just was skin. There was no like muscle that like was behind the skin. It was just like, it was just loose skin. And the doctor told me that that would happen, and I wasn't really that worried. And at first, like at first glance when I looked at them, I wasn't really that upset about it. I was like, they're fine. Like, I actually sent a photo to all of my family and was like, I love them. I love them so much. But then as the days went on and I kind of just started looking at them and like looking at the scars, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that I did this to myself. I was so heartbroken that I had even gotten implants in the first place. Yeah, it wasn't even that I never regretted getting the implants removed, but I was so upset that I just even did that in the first place, that I ever even got the implants, and I couldn't believe just like how badly I had mutilated myself. So that was like a whole other thing, and I just was like, I don't know how I'm ever going to be naked in front of anybody again. Yeah, it was just like a whirlwind of emotions. But as that only lasted for maybe, I don't know, 3 to 5 days, that emotional state. And it could have been because I was coming off of anesthesia. I don't know. I just was really, really emotional, but I still didn't regret the fact that I had gotten the implants removed. I was so happy. And then after that, I had been on this detox from November to April, and I had had the best skin I had ever had in my life. My hair was thicker than I had ever had it be in my life. I just was glowing and beautiful in a way that I have never felt or looked ever in life before I had my surgery. And then about probably 3 weeks after my surgery, my skin started freaking out. I started losing all of this hair. It was really interesting. I felt like all the symptoms that a lot of women say that they had, that they think are like breast implant illness symptoms, it seemed like I was getting those symptoms after the implants were out. So luckily for me, I had already been on a very heavy detox for like 5 months or 6 months at this point. So I knew what healing crises looked like. I knew what detox symptoms were. So I knew that all of the symptoms that I was experiencing with my skin breaking out, like it looked like I had hives all over my body, and it lasted for weeks, and it hurt really bad. And or it like burned. I would say it was just like irritating. It burned, it was inflamed, and it also looked like pimples everywhere. It was crazy. So that, and then also my hair falling out, which was like annoying, but it wasn't that bad. So I knew what the detox symptoms were, and I just kind of dealt with it. But yeah, that was super frustrating. And the hair loss and the skin issues lasted for probably like 5 to 6 months. Like they're just now starting to subside. And so yeah, so I dealt with that. But still, after getting the implants removed, I was just like, I still didn't regret it. I looked at myself in the mirror. My perfect body that I felt like I always had was no longer, didn't look perfect anymore. But I still didn't regret my decision to get my implants out. I started realizing too, like, I never thought that I had a breast implant illness symptoms ever. Like, I really only got my implants out because I just was on a physical healing and spiritual journey. And I just knew that there was no way I could get my body as detoxed as possible if I had a foreign object in it. And there was no way that I could fully love myself if I had those implants in, because they weren't really me. So even though I never felt like I had breast implant illness symptoms, I still, now looking back at the way that I feel and looking back at some of the things that I had experienced while I had implants for 5 years, I actually do think that I had those breast implant illness symptoms, because now I have so much energy. I feel light. Like I physically feel like just light all of the time. I don't experience any headaches. I don't experience any like joint pain. I now look back at photos of myself from like the year after, like 6 months to a year after I got my implants, I blew up. Like I gained like, I want to say I gained like 20 pounds after I got my implants, and I just look swollen. Like I look gross in all of my photos from back when I had my implants. And I just remember when I had implants, like not being able to sleep through the night for like 6 months at a time for no reason. I remember waking up and just feeling like my neck and my shoulders and just like my hips and my knees, all of my joints seemed to hurt all the time. And I just kept remember thinking like, is this what getting old feels like? Like, is this it? Like I was just so confused. Yeah, I mean, I just had, and even the fatigue part too. I remember, because I've always been self-employed, so I would just take naps all throughout the day. I would like wake up, go work out, come home, take a nap at like 10, from 10 to 11, wake up, work some more, maybe take a nap at like 2 to 3, and then go to sleep at like 9. I was sleeping a lot, and I thought that I was just tired all the time, and I thought I was maybe like dealing with depression. I don't know. But now looking back at it, it was the implants, because I don't experience any of that stuff. Granted, now my body is cleaner than it's ever been because I've been on all of these herbs and like have totally changed my diet, and I eat no more inflammatory foods at all. I'm very strategic on how and what I eat. So that definitely has played a role, but also getting my implants removed was a huge factor in all of this. And I would say that my biggest regret with all of this entire experience was not getting the implants. It was not getting the implants removed. It was that it took me so long to decide to get the implants removed. I'm happy that I had the implants. I'm so happy that I experienced that part of my journey. It was a learning experience that I feel I needed. I won't say that I wish that everyone could have it, because I don't, absolutely don't. But I did need that experience of getting those implants, realizing what it was to not love yourself at all. And then also like realizing what it is to choose yourself and choose your health and choose self-love, and making the decision to get them out, and then having to love myself through like not looking as I thought that I like, as I would want to look, all of that. So yeah, my biggest regret was not getting the implants. My biggest regret was definitely not getting them out. That was an amazing decision. My biggest regret was waiting so long to get them out. I never had liked my implants from the day that I got them. I literally woke up and I was like, they are way too big. They're huge. And I kept thinking that like at the time that they would get less swollen and I wouldn't feel that they were as big. And then once I was unswollen, I was really tiny at the time because I had gone through a really terrible breakup. So once I started to gain weight, then they looked a little bit more proportionate to my body. But I never liked them. From the moment I looked at them in the mirror, I hated them. And and I just like, my biggest regret is that it took me so long to say, hey, I made a huge mistake and I don't want these things in my body. And I should have done that like 6 months or maybe even a year after I had gotten them. But I think I was just so invested in the way that like the piece of false confidence that they had given me. I had big boobs now and I was curvy and I got attention from like men and women. Like people were commenting on my body and all of that. Like I think even though I hated them, it still felt good to have that attention, and whether it be negative attention or positive attention. And I think was just too ashamed to say, hey, I made a really big mistake. So my biggest regret with the entire process was that it just took me so long to realize that I could give myself grace and say, it's okay that you made a mistake, or it's okay that you want to go back and reverse a decision that you had made, because you can. I think a lot of times, at least for me, I struggle with that. If I make a stance on something or I make a decision on something, it's really hard for me to be like, oh, I need to go like revert backwards, or oh, I can pivot and make a different decision or change my mind about something, because I'm pretty balls to the wall. Like, I'm pretty strong-headed, and if I make a decision about something, like that's what I do. And I did that with my family. Like, everybody and all of my friends too, everyone was like, do not get these implants. The only person that was somewhat supportive of it was my boyfriend at the time, which is why I was getting them in the first place, because he was cheating on me with all of these women that had fake boobs, and I thought that that was going to be like the piece to the missing puzzle, that maybe I just wasn't appealing for him or something. So he was the only person that supported it. Everyone else was like, you are perfect, do not do that. And I think a huge piece of it was I just didn't want to go back and look at my friends and family in the face and say, hey, you were right, I made a mistake, and I want to get them out. So I think when I started having health concerns, it was just easier for me to say, I want to get these implants out now, and be able to make it like, it was just like a softer landing for me to say, I want to get them out because I don't want them anymore, and also because I'm worried about my health. I think that maybe if I never would have had some health concerns, I maybe never would have felt comfortable to say, I made a really big mistake and I want to go back and like fix it. So my biggest regret with the entire process was that it just took me so long. It took me so long to give myself grace and to say, hey, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to pivot. And I think that's the message that I want to share today with this video, that if you're on the fence about getting your implants out, but you know somewhere in your core that you want to get them out, but you're maybe just worried about all of the other pieces of it, like the emotional pieces about the way that you're going to look, the opinions about people that are in your life, I would just say go with your gut. And if your gut is telling you it's time to have them removed, it's time to have them removed. And also, for those of you that have gotten your implants out, and maybe you're dealing with some of the emotions that I've talked about as far as feeling regret or guilt, because we didn't even go into like the financial guilt piece of it, because let's be honest, when I got the implants, I didn't have money to get the implants. And when I got them out, I didn't have the money to get them out. But I chose my health over anything, and I did anything that I possibly could to make that happen, to financially get them out. And yeah, so I didn't even go into that. But if you're somebody who's gotten your implants out and you're dealing with just all of the emotions that come with that, I'm just here to tell you that it is okay to feel all of the emotions. It is okay to be sad one day, to feel like regretful, but to also be so happy and so elated that you have like another chance at life. Some of you women that are so sick from your implants, I feel like my heart breaks for you guys, because honestly, at one point or another, we all got implants with the hopes of feeling better about ourselves, whether you are a breast cancer survivor or whether you were a woman trying to achieve a certain look. I mean, I feel so heartbroken for women that are just super sick from their implants, because we all went into this with just the idea that we were going to feel better about ourselves. So yeah, I just really hope that everyone that's going through the process of either deciding to get them removed or that have gotten them removed, that you just give yourself grace, because it's okay. That's a part of this human experience that we're on, is to have just ups and downs and wild journeys and make decisions that maybe weren't like the best, but maybe those decisions lead us to like really great places. And Yeah, so my message is that like my biggest regret in all of this was just not doing it sooner. And my message to you guys is just freaking love yourselves through all of the emotions, through the entire process of all of it, because this is just a beautiful learning opportunity for us all. And we all have the power to heal our bodies. I am absolutely an advocate for the fact that there's no symptom that we can't help. And we're not broken. We're not permanently broken. So some of you guys that have been diagnosed with some of these autoimmune diseases, I'm here to tell you that we have the power to heal. Our bodies are magical, intelligent creatures, and we can heal. We just have to have our bodies in the right condition in order to make that happen, which is why when I started detoxing in order to fix my vision, I just felt so passionate about that entire process and how much it changed my life and how I felt better and looked better than I ever had before. And so I went and got, I'm now certified, like level 2 certified for regenerative health practitioner in order to help people detox their bodies. And this was way before, this passion was way before I even got my implants out, just because I started to see how much my body was healing itself just by things I was putting in my body and things I was eliminating and just different practices that I was incorporating into my life. So those of you guys that are dealing with the aftermath of maybe some kind of sickness that your implants gave you, I definitely encourage you to take a second look at what maybe you've been diagnosed with, and maybe a doctor tells you that it's just impossible to fix or heal, because I just would second guess that. In regards to my boobs, so it is 6 months and I'm here to tell you that my boobs have changed so much since I got them out. So much. They went from, oh, I'm so happy, to, oh my God, what did I do to myself, to, oh my God, look at all of this crazy loose skin, to, wow, I can literally like pick up my skin like they're like pancakes, to now my boobs are filling out and they are not just loose skin anymore. They have curves to them now. They have gotten, I would say, like bigger. And like I said, I didn't get a lift at all. And my implants were over my muscle, which I was told by many plastic surgeons that if your implant was over your muscle, you are way more at risk of having cosmetic issues, which in my opinion, they were just trying to sell me on getting a lift. But yeah, I am so happy I did not get a lift. I am so happy with the way that my boobs look. They look pretty much how they did before I got implants. And my scars, they are still big, but they have the redness, they have subsided quite a bit. And I know that when I got the implants in the first place, the scars basically were non-existent like a year or two later. And that was without any type of like treatment at all. I didn't even like massage or do oils or anything on my scars before. So I know that my scars now at 6 months, they've significantly reduced as far as redness goes. And I know that if I continue to like massage them and treat them well and hydrate my body, like with what I'm eating and putting in my body, I know that my detox protocol that I've been on is going to aid the way that the scars look. So I'm not planning on doing any type of laser treatments. I'm not planning on doing anything at all. I'm gonna let my body heal naturally and just love my body for scars and all. This tells a story, everything about who I am. I personally love my scars. I feel like when I look at them in the mirror, I'm like, you are a badass. Like, you went in and you made a decision that you didn't care what you looked like, your health was most important, and that you were perfect the way that you are. So when I see those scars, I am like, hell yes. And I'm so grateful that the surgeon that I went to in Mexico, that he made me feel safe enough to decide not to get a lift. He's the one that told me, you know what? don't get a lift. I think you're gonna be fine. You are gonna bounce back. But he also said, he left the room and the space that if you do get them out, let's revisit in a year if you wanna get a lift. He told me that your body changes so much between when you get them out and a year, that he did not suggest even getting a lift in the first place, and that if I was going to get one, just to wait. So I'm so happy I had a doctor that was in support of that and was not pressuring me just to make an extra money on the surgery. So thank you so much for watching this video. This included my biggest regret, my detoxing after my feelings, thoughts, concerns about the whole process, and I'm here to support you on your journey. This has been the best experience of my journey, so wishing you love and light and grace in yours.